With Derek Boykin. No, that's not the intro. Hang on. Wait. I have a nasty echo coming in. I can hear it. I think. What about now? Anyway, so it's been a few days since I've done a video. Basically, I am committed to doing videos for all of you at least 3 days a week, and those will be random days. And basically, the content delivery is, I think, like mid-length format, probably like 7 to 10 minutes, opposed to like long content format, which is like 10 to 30, and maybe extended long content is like 30 to an hour. But anyways, so what I want to do is I want to share with you something that I sense, based on where the world is right now, a lot of people need. And one of the biggest things that I'm focused on right now is putting out information into the world that other people need because they genuinely need it, not because I think they need it. And this is a big deal because we are in a time and a place where we are the most connected through technology, with all of the devices that sync up and talk to each other, to the tags that we can find our keys and everything. And yet people still struggle to connect and create connections, both in person and from online connections, that have a deeper level of authenticity. And so what I want to do is I want to share with you basically, like, one of the biggest like assets to you in your whole life is how to talk to anyone. Now, this is a much longer process than today's video, and it wouldn't be a video if I didn't like drink something. I feel like if I don't have coffee and I'm not opening a beverage, those can be intentional pauses. They can be intentional ways to break things up. FYI. Okay, so I won't be able to tell you everything in one video. What I can do, though, is I could teach you in this one video how you could actually start this today, learning to talk to anyone. So I'm just going to give you a quick backstory. The most significant gift and strength I've had to refine is my ability to communicate with anyone. Now, up until now, I have not truly understood the absolute value of this gift. The essence of being able to talk to anyone is literally like understanding you and your personal business and your big business and your sales job, whatever. You're one conversation away from having life-changing experiences, whether that's a contract, that's the biggest contract you've ever signed, whether you're going to find the love of your life from meeting someone who knows someone. You are always one connection away from exponential growth. And I want you to know this. Like, I come from dysfunction. I have believed in my mind I am one conversation away from life-changing exponential growth. I don't know who's watching. I want to thank you. I appreciate your support. And so as I get back into this, so basically having this gift of communication, I have been forced through my life experiences to adapt. It was sink or swim. And that's the one thing about communication and connecting with people that I think a lot of other people might not have had happen for them. And so I say that because I didn't have a choice. From a dysfunctional family and door-to-door sales, talking on the phone in sales, some of the training and curriculum I taught years ago, these were things that were high attention to detail, and the commitment to excellence was just, it had to be there. I would have to learn things to teach things that could prevent someone from going to prison when I was teaching permit to carry courses in Minnesota. I would have to cite things that had a very, very specific like clause within the law or the statute. And so you want to know how you could say this stuff and it actually really land and other people can understand it. So really quick is, from my experience in communication mastery, it's not easy. Communication is an innate gift for me, yet that innate gift is like having a athletic build, someone who looks like a sports player, someone who looks like a wrestler, someone who looks like they are capable of creating basically, any sort of positive, athletic performance changing skill sets. So without the training that's necessary, without the focus, without the communication to actually understand that gift and actually train their body based on, what muscle groups they need to target to really hit the most strength. And so with all that said, communication is no different. Communication is no different. And I want you to know this, that you can and will get better at anything and everything that you choose to do that you actually want to do in terms of you believe in it. So, with that said, I also want to give you this. You're much further along with whatever you're doing than the quitters who've never started will lead you to believe. Okay, so how you can talk to anybody is really simple. It really comes down to this. You have to get over that initial energy dump, that adrenaline dump in your own body when you are approaching a stranger. Because what happens, if you remember, whether you're a boy or girl, man or woman, doesn't matter your age, when you approach the opposite sex or whatever the situation is, and you're having a conversation for the first time, there's always that, like, that nervousness, these butterflies in your stomach. Well, that feeling is actually not much different than the feeling that someone would have in a business setting. That feeling is not much different than someone would have in, say, another personal setting that's not necessarily monogamous. So basically, what we've got here is the interest of your mind to attach itself to feelings that are not necessarily there. And so that's part of that's part of fight or flight. These different things trigger off. And so ultimately what you want to know is you're just making it up. It's not a real worry. There's no real threat there. So know that you have to get over this initial dump. And so I'm going to give you a tip, and it came out of Timothy Ferriss's book, his classic, The 4-Hour Work Week. Now, I want you to go and find this section in his book on your own, because I'm going to paraphrase it, and I'm not going to be spot on because it's been years since I read the book. And basically what he explains is you want to go to a very densely populated environment like the mall, and you want to approach the opposite sex and ask them for their number and see if you could take them out on like a coffee date. And you don't want to just do this with the intentions of getting their number to go on the coffee date. You actually want to do this with the intention of getting over that dump, that fear that happens in the body. And so what you do is you do it with more of a machine gun approach. And he doesn't use the words machine gun approach. I think he uses something a little more tactful. But what I'm saying is really this. In a personal or professional setting, I think it would be best to do it in the personal setting. If you're single, it's easier. If you're not single, tell your significant other what you're doing and why you're doing it, and point out the section of the Timothy Ferriss book. I can't be held liable for what you create or don't create in that problem or no problem that happens from that. But basically, you want to approach someone. Timothy Ferriss has basically a quick script of, hey, I noticed you. You caught my attention, and I'd like to take you out for coffee. I'm actually running late to a meeting, or I got to get to a meeting, or I got to go meet my friends at the gym. So what's a good number? I'll connect with you and we can go out to coffee. And so let me pause and break that down really quick. So basically what he's doing in his book, he explains this, is he's creating urgency. And we got to do this in sales. We got to do this in life, but he's creating urgency, and he's creating an escape for both people. Okay. So he said that when women have men approach them, and there's some other stuff, basically having that urgency of, I noticed you, I actually am in a rush, I kind of got to go. That means that they can tell you, yes, here's my number, and they know you're not going to stick around and try to have a 20-minute conversation with them. Or they could tell you no, and I'm not giving you my number, and they know you're not going to try to have a 20-minute conversation with them. So the benefit of this approach to help you learn how to talk to anyone is if you can go to a mall, a densely populated area, and approach as many people as possible within that window of time when your body dumps all of those negative emotions, all those fears, all the, not negative emotions, but more like the adrenaline, the cortisol, and these different things that happen, you can actually get ahead of it. And what I mean by that is, when you build up and you walk up to someone, you say, hey, you know what? I noticed you. You're really attractive. I actually have to go meet a couple friends for dinner. I really wanted to take you out for coffee. What would be a good number to reach you at so we can connect later? If you get shot down, that's okay. Now, when you do it again and again, eventually the first time to the third time, it's not that big of a deal. Now, it's not that the act has gotten any easier. Okay, I want you to get this. It's not that the act has actually got easier. What it is the energy that builds up in the body, the emotions and the feelings and everything that's going through you has actually dissipated. It's literally like you exercised a little bit before you went and did the deed. Like you're doing the deed and then all of a sudden you're sweating and you're like, oh, I got to get to the gym more, because that's your only form of exercise. But if you would have exercised first, that wouldn't be feeling like exercise. And so let's get back on the G-rated topic of this is, once you get that out of your system, then you're not creating that energetically. And then you can start to do it over and over and over again with anybody. And now this is not only for, using this in a dating capacity. I want you to realize this. It's not for the dating capacity. What it's for is it's for the capacity of understanding that if you could, how would I put it? If you could really get that the body is firing off emotions, the body is firing off chemicals in response to what is a perceived threat, you will actually realize that by calming yourself in those situations and in those states, which we'll get to at some point what those truly are, you can find yourself finding a certain kind of peace there because you realize there is no threat. And so that's one of the biggest things that you can do right now, today, to start talking to anybody, anytime, anywhere. And if you can't go to the mall because maybe you Uber everywhere and you're not just going to go get in the mall and do this because you're still a little afraid, then just do it on the phone. Maybe you're in a sales role. Get on the phone. Make some cold calls. Matter of fact, get out the phone book and just call some random businesses and sell them your service, even if they're not your ideal client, to see what it's like to get that rejection out of the way. Because once you get energetically connected with the fact that that rejection is okay either way, and you keep going and you keep going, you keep going, and then boom, you land a client, you take a beautiful girl out on a date. At the end of the day, you start to realize that you have more control over that fight or flight instinct that fires off. So I'm going to wrap this video up, and I want you to remember that you are much further along than what you really believe. And I say this to you, I say this to myself, and I say this because the way things worked for people in the past is not always how they work for people in the future. Now, some people will want to lead you to believe that past is a good indication of the future, this, that, and the third. And that might be true to some capacity, and it's also not. One of the things that Tony Robbins said at the Unleash the Power Within event was he had exponential growth. He said that he went from making like $28,000 a year to making $1 million, literally like that. He had made $28,000 a year forever, and then boom, he was making $1 million a year. that kind of exponential growth back then when he created it was like, whoa, it's crazy. Now people are able to create that kind of exponential growth from things on the internet that I have no clue about. They're capable of creating that stuff in e-commerce that I could scratch the surface with a little bit about. What I'm really getting at is this. The most important thing that you could be doing right now is doing something for you. And if somebody else wants to criticize it, it's okay. I gotta be honest that I've not always done the best videos. It's okay. We're always going to be growing at something. What we have to do is we have to remember that while we're growing, while we're getting better, we're still good enough. And that's the one thing I want to make sure people take away from, not only my videos, more so from all the videos they watch of everybody's stuff. So I'm going to get going. I got some things to do, and this video went a little longer, and hopefully you get to the meat and potatoes of this, and I will get better at storytelling. Really good at storytelling. It's just a matter of getting to the chase, bro. Anyways, have a good day, everybody. And yes, Timothy Ferriss 4-Hour Work Week. I'm not getting any affiliate to say that. There's nothing involved. I think that it's a really good segment, and he explains it very well. If you want to learn more about it, check out his book. It's an old book. It's a classic. Everybody has it. And if you don't have a copy, get a copy or borrow one from your friend. Have a great day, everybody. Talk soon.